Really quickly, I want to touch on some quick points. I want to talk about the 14th Amendment. I want to talk about abortion because I've addressed abortion as a topic in at least one of my previous videos. I want to be pretty matter of fact with this video. I don't want to get too opinionated here. The 14th Amendment has been used by many to justify giving U.S. citizenship to children who are born within the United States, whether their parents are foreign nationals or not. And I agree with doing that, not necessarily because I think it's practical. I actually haven't given much thought to whether it's practical to automatically give citizenship to children, regardless of where their parents are from. But I agree with doing it because it is constitutional, and I agree with adhering to the Constitution, not just the parts that I agree with, and neglecting parts that are not convenient for me to agree with. That is a trend that I see. People want to invoke the Constitution when it's convenient and completely disregard it when it's not convenient for them. I see this happening with the First Amendment. I think it's very dangerous, but it is a minority of people. But I still think it's something to still be on guard about. There are several voices that I respect. They fall on the conservative side of the political spectrum, who have kind of disregarded the fact that the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution automatically grants citizenship to children born in the United States. And disagreeing with that policy, I don't necessarily have a problem with. There have been attempts have been made, however, to not grant citizenship at certain times. If you want to disagree with the policy and you want to go through the necessary procedures to amend the Constitution, which is very hard to do, but it can be done, that's one thing. But to try and circumvent it altogether, I disagree with doing it. But some people who I have a lot of respect for, as a matter of fact, I believe, I was not always a supporter of President Trump, but I am now. I think he's a great president. I think he's a great leader. He, I believe, has actually had something to do with that. And I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I do think it's pretty plain that it is law. Anyway, there is a bill that was in the United States Senate recently. It was voted down 53 to 44. You need 60 votes to get most things passed the United States Senate. And it was a bill that addressed abortion. I don't know a whole lot about it, but what I do know is it was a Republican bill. It targeted the purpose of the bill, from what I believe, it was to deter doctors from neglecting children who are born, who the mother intended be aborted. Can't find my words. If a baby survived an abortion and was born, this bill essentially protected the life of the child. And I want to read really quickly a small list of some of the senators who voted down this bill because they are running for the president. These are Democratic presidential candidates who voted down the bill. We have Bernie Sanders of Vermont. He voted it down. Kamala Harris of California. Cory Booker of New Jersey. Kirsten Gillibrand of New York. Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. I don't know anything about her. And Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. They all voted against this bill. So really quickly, I'm going to go ahead and read the 14th Amendment, Section 1. There are 5 sections to this amendment. It's not very long. It's about a page. But I want to read Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside, No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So, I don't want to get into the morality or legality of protecting the life of the unborn. It's an important discussion to have, but I believe, plain as day, that the Constitution protects the life of people who are born and grants citizenship to children who are born in the United States. It's very plain. And if we're going to use that amendment the purpose of the amendment was to grant citizenship to freed slaves. It was passed shortly after the Civil War. That was the purpose of the amendment. That being said, it is what it is. It's law, and it's used to give citizenship to to the children of, whether they're immigrants or, I think in some cases, even if they're just visiting. That is, if that's the law, then that's the law. So I think it's plain that grants citizenship to any child that's born, even if the intention of the mother was to abort the child. Once the child is born, it is a United States citizen, and it definitely is protected under the United States Constitution. Ralph Northam, who I mentioned in a previous video, he is the Democratic governor of Virginia, and he was the guy recently in the media for the blackface racial issue, which I didn't follow too closely, but I do believe that it was a cover-up by the media, because several days beforehand, Ralph Northam had come out condoning infanticide. He had mentioned that children who were born, if an abortion failed and a child was born, he was in favor of ending that child's life. There's audio of this. It's very easy to find. You can find it in 5 seconds on the internet of Ralph Northam talking about making the baby comfortable. It's not funny. Making the baby comfortable, having a discussion with the mother, and this is after the baby's born. And everyone knows, the media knows, that this is extremely far left. This is extremely radical opinion to have. So I just wanted to mention that. The 14th Amendment grants citizenship to babies once they are born. There's still a debate about babies being, up until 9 months, which is also very extreme. There's still debate about the unborn. But when you are born, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think you have to be a scholar to understand that you are a U.S. citizenship once you are born in this country, especially to U.S. Parents who are U.S. citizens. Those are my thoughts.